Hey! It's Faith! Konnichiwa, Minnasan! Alright, in today's vlog, I'll be talking about the financial matters. How much money did I spend for me to get here to Japan? And first of all, thank you so much dun sa nag-comment sa previous video ko asking about the money matters. And I think that this will be very informative, so that's why I'm creating this video. And if you're watching, thank you so much, and I hope you get the idea. If you're planning to apply abroad, or specifically if you're planning to apply to be a teacher here in Japan and to the same agency as mine. Right, I have here with me list. So I like organizing things, especially when I'm committed to it. And what I did is that I have here all the step-by-step process that I needed to do before, and also non-DFA authenticated documentation requirements, and also the DFA authenticated documentation requirement. And from here, these are the needed requirements. If you've seen my previous video, it is already indicated there as the step-by-step process. And now we will be talking about the money matters. Also, I have here my computation that I did last night so that I know I'll be giving the correct information. I will be dividing the expenses into 4 categories. First is the travel expenses, the fares from and going to the office or the agency, also to my schools, and getting all the necessary requirements. Next is the documentation itself, like the certificates, how much it costs. Next one is the placement fee, and last one is your pocket money. Okay. The previous videos that I was able to watch actually talk about their finances, but because they came from provinces like Cebu, Davao, or any provinces, they needed to spend for their airfare, like hotel staying when they're going to the office. Because if you're going to apply to the same agency that I went to, you needed to go to their office for the orientation, interview, and demo lesson, contract signing, and final briefing. Also, if you would be needing to go there to submit your necessary documents, you still need to spend fare for that. But since I am from Metro Manila, so it's not that expensive. Since I was from Marikina going to Makati, instead of flying to go to Makati for interview and everything. By the way, everything will be estimated budget according to the nearest estimation. But I will really include the exact amount since I still have the receipts of the documents that I submitted. I will definitely include the necessary amount for those. But for the travel expenses and everything, I will run it off to the nearest estimation for your reference. Let's start with the travel expenses. So we need to get the certification from elementary, high school, and university. Since I studied elementary in Cavite, I needed to go there and also to DepEd to have the certification I got from my elementary school certified and validated. Next is high school in Quezon City. Also, I went to DepEd regional office in SM North, like actually in front of SM North. Next is my university in Manila. Mine might be a little more expensive than others because I needed to travel from Manila to Cavite to get the certification from my schools. Next is going to my agency. I went there for orientation, demo lesson, and interview. Normally it's being done different day, but I did it for one day. So I had my demo lesson and interview same day. Next is for contract signing. Next is for submitting my other documents, including the form about coronavirus, because at the time that we're about to be deployed here in Japan, the pandemic is slowly increasing. They needed to make sure that we're healthy before they deployed us, so we needed to sign the form about our recent travel history, if we went to China, and specifically to the cities like Wuhan, and there is another city next.
At this moment that she knew.
And also our health check. It's just a simple questionnaire regarding what if we had experienced symptoms. All went fine, so I'm so thankful. And last one is the final briefing. Also, we went to the PDOS. All OFWs before departures needed to attend PDOS, or the pre-departure orientation seminar. We also need to go to Manila for that. So all in all, I estimated my travel expenses from 7,000 to 8,000. Also, it's because I've been using Angkas, but I mean, it's because it's very convenient. It's not that expensive. But if you're not going to use Angkas, probably that will cost you for around 6,000 to 7,000. Next is for the documents. The documents that you needed to get is English as medium of instructions from elementary, high school, and university. I didn't pay for any certification from my elementary and high school, TOR as well, and also I needed diploma. A letter from these schools because I needed to have it validated at the Department of Education Regional's office. So they needed to create a letter for you and submit it to the regional's office of DepEd. Next is for the documents I got from my university. I needed to get English as medium of instructions, which costs 150 pesos, TOR, which cost 770 pesos, and since I needed a stamp, that cost 30 pesos. Next is the DFA tab or red ribbon documents. That costs 920 plus the stamp is 950. And the PUP special certificate, yes, I got all these necessary documents from PUP. So this is how much it costs. So special certificate is 200 pesos. This is actually a specific certification for English as medium of instruction, especially if you are going to Japan. So there's a required format from Japan Embassy that your university needed to comply. I spent 2,100 for my documents. Next is the DFA authenticated requirement. Lahat ng documents na nakuha mo sa schools mo are needed to be authenticated in DFA for what they call red ribbon before, but now it is actually called apostille certificate. It looks like this. So before it's called red ribbon, so there will be red ribbon here or something on your documents, but they have changed it and you'll be notified about it when you went to the DFA anyways, but it looks like this. It's apostille certificate. So at the back, at the end of your document, meron yung tatak ng DFA. Okay? Yep. So everything you needed to have authenticated are a copy of your college diploma and TOR, copy of Form 137 and your high school diploma, copy of Form 137 and elementary school diploma, letters in the strict format, the ALT formatted English medium of instruction letter from your high school, college, and elementary, and a copy of the LTO certificate of your Philippine driver's license. So all in all, for the DFA authenticated documentation, I paid 700 pesos. Each document cost 100 pesos for a regular delivery. For express processing, it costs 200 pesos. Actually mine, I chose express because at that moment, I really needed to pass all my documents. So I needed it ASAP. I paid for express, which cost 200 pesos each document. But since if you're gonna process it as early as you can, then you will only need to pay 100 pesos per document. Next is the non-DFA authenticated documentation required. You need, of course, passport. For the regular processing, it costs 950 pesos. For express delivery, it costs 1,200 pesos. For your NBI clearance, you need a copy, one original, and a photocopy. NBI clearance, it cost 135 pesos if I'm not mistaken. But I think there will be a service charge, which I am not really sure how much is it now. I think in total it will be like 155 pesos. And also, as I said in my previous vlog, you need to have a non-professional driver's license at least. So for the driver's license, you need to get a medical certificate before you will be able to apply. Let's round it off to 1,000 pesos. And if you have any internationally recognized English teaching courses like TEFL or TESOL, I actually had TESOL before because I was already looking for a teaching job here in Japan, and I think it'll be a good idea. I highly recommend International Open Academy because mostly they have discounts. I think I paid mine for like some euros, but if you already have that, then you don't need to pay for that anyway. For the non-DFA authenticated requirements, I spent around 2,500. Next is your IDP or International Driving Permit. I got it from Automobile Association of the Philippines. So you need to get this from Quezon City. That is the office which the agency required us to go. And it looks like this. Yep. So, yeah, that costs 3,920 pesos. But if you have the overseas exit certificate, but in our case, hindi pa nare-release yung OEC namin, pero kailangan na namin kumuha ng IDP because in few days, departure na namin. But what I did, I just tried it and it worked for me. My batchmates weren't able to do so because they thought that we really needed OEC, but I tried to show them my contract because at that time, we've already signed our contract sa office in Makati and we have our copy. I showed them that and I was able to get 20% off. So, diba, sayang din yun, 784 pesos. So, I only paid 3,136. Next is your PSA or your original birth certificate copy. That costs 135 pesos if you're going to go to the PSA office. But if you would like it to have delivered, it costs double price, like 330 or 350 pesos for one copy. But let's do it 135 pesos. Next is your medical certificate. For the medical certificate, it varies depending on which clinic you actually had your medical examination, but just make sure that it is approved under POEA. I went to Christian Medical Clinic near Gilmore Station. It was just behind the Madison building in Gilmore, Quezon City. I paid for around 2,000 pesos. You need to make sure that it's valid 6 months before your departure. If not, like what happened to me, because I did my medical examination when I submitted it during our orientation, which was like a year before our departure. So I needed to repeat my medical examination, but just the x-ray, so chest x-ray, and the others are okay. It doesn't need to be repeated. And you will also be paying 20 pesos right before you enter the PIDO center. I think that is for the certificate that you will be receiving after the seminar. For the non-DFA authenticated requirements and the DFA authenticated requirements, including the certificates that I get from my university, the PSA, and PIDO's medical expenses, that is around 12,000 pesos. Alright, we're done with the travel expenses and the documentations. Now, let's go to placement fee. Before, yung nire-require lang ng agency namin is to pay half or 50% and then installment na yung remaining balance. But they changed their policy, so we needed to pay in full before our departure date. The equivalent is your 1 month salary here in Japan. And this year, ALT's monthly salary is 215,000 yen if we're to convert that. So it depends kung magkano yung exchange rate ng yen to peso. But during our time, it was really high. I remember yung batchmates ko, they're really waiting for it to get lower. Kasi we thought na because of the coronavirus, it will get lower, but it didn't. So, some of them paid like in the conversion of 0.49, which is super high. It means that they paid like more than 100,000 for our replacement fee. But for mine, I only paid in equivalent to 0.47. So I paid like around 100,000 pesos. So it is usually like 97 to 100,000 pesos if mababa yung exchange rate. So let's round it off to 100,000 pesos. Lastly, for your pocket money. I know some ALPs who actually had their loans from their parents, which is very fortunate of them that if you can borrow from your parents, then why not? Some of them have like 400,000 yen, some has like 200,000 yen. Actually, you're required to bring at least 500,000 yen as a pocket money here in Japan in order to settle. Sasabihin naman sa inyo yun, but do not be discouraged because I myself, I didn't have that cash on hand when I am about to go here to Japan. But for me, I only had 50,000 pesos. That actually equivalent to like 90 to 100,000 yen. So in my case, I only had 45,000 pesos. I think it's the lowest na may nagdala here sa Japan. But of course, I know that God will never forsake me. And I know na hindi naman niya ako pababayaan, kaya lakas lang ng loob. So, I only brought like 93,000 yen. Just so you know, your first salary here in Japan will come after 2 months na nakarating ka dito. So, I got here March 16, 2020, and I was able to receive my first salary, which is actually prorated during the month of April, and next year, March, it will be prorated, meaning kung ilang araw lang yung pinasok mo, yun lang yung sasagutin mo. So, I received my first salary just last week, May 20. That is my first salary, so I needed to budget it for the next month. For the first month, since it is prorated, so mas mababa siya sa usual na salary mo, kung ilang araw lang yung pinasok mo, but you will also receive your training fee. But I was able to survive with just like 93,000 yen for 2 months. Aside from your pocket money, you need to pay 3 months advance for your housing. But what is so great is that you can actually get a loan from your company here in Japan up until 250,000 yen, and also for only 2% interest for the whole year. So for me, I took that loan amount in order to settle here in Japan. So I only needed to budget my money for traveling, and I'm so thankful na nakapagkasya ko siya in 2 months, and then just sakto lang na dumating yung sahod bago maubos yung budget ko. Now, without the housing cost, this is the estimated total breakdown of the money I spent before coming here to Japan. For travel expenses, that is 7,000 pesos. Next is for documentation, 11,000 pesos. For placement fee, 100,000 pesos. For pocket money, 50,000 pesos. In total of 268,000 pesos. It is indeed a huge amount of money, but you don't really need to have that before you start your application. When I was starting my application a year ago, I didn't think about finances because I was just really committed to the process itself because I really wanted to be here in Japan. And I think you just need that courage and motivation. Meron kasi akong motto sa sarili ko na if it's gonna be for you, it's gonna be for you. And if that is Lord's plan for you, then it will be given to you no matter what happens. And never kasi talaga ako nag-worry about anything. Even though I know na, oh my God, saan ako kuha ng pera for placement fee and everything. Kasi I wasn't really earning that much. In like, I already have a regular job, but that's just like an allowance. It's not really like a full-time salary job. And I have my part-time during Saturday. I perform in Tinjan, like for events and everything. And I also doing tutoring, like one-on-one tutoring for Japanese and English. And also, I was doing online lessons. So I already have 4 jobs, but I will never be able to save that money. If I will wait until I save that money before I apply for any jobs abroad, I don't think I will be able to make it until how many years pa. Do not be discouraged. Just go for it because you'll never know until you take the risk. really, I did not have that amount of money. Even my traveling, I needed to do those part-time jobs in order for me to go to DFA, to go to my university, you know. And also, if you've noticed, I did not include the visa, the ticket, because those are shouldered by our company. So, because those are shouldered by our company and you don't really need to worry about that. If you do not have that amount of money and then kailangan mo na siya, maraming available na maraming available na loaning company that would approve you, especially if you're going to be an OFW. However, you need to be very careful kasi most of them mataas yung interest, and check nyo if feasible ba siya mabayaran within a year, or may masisave pa ba kayo, because of course, you're not gonna go here just to pay your debt. So, you really need to save for your future and for yourself. So, I think better if you have relatives that can lend you some money, or if you have your parents. Also, I have some batchmates which was able to save enough for their pocket money and placement fee in a year throughout the process. Kasi if you're gonna apply, that might take time. So while taking the time, you're also taking it as an opportunity to save money for future expenses like before departure. Also, I would like to take this opportunity to really thank all the teachers, staff, officers, relatives, who really helped me to be able to achieve this goal. My churchmates, pastor, you know, everyone who prayed for my success. And I am now here in Japan, so I'm really hoping that if you're watching this video, I was able to encourage you, inspire you, and I hope you aspire to be a teacher here in Japan. Also, shout out to all the ABE graduates in PUP. If you have the passion on teaching, then go ahead, apply, because here I am now. Again, if you have any questions, suggestions, please feel free to comment down below. And please subscribe to my channel, like, and share. I really appreciate everyone. And keep safe and enjoy your life. Bye-bye!